evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Salem by Night series. My name is Will. I'll be your storyteller this evening. Last we left off, we had an Elysium episode where our two different warring faction groups actually met for the first time. And although there was no animosity towards anyone, I think a lot got done. And we picked up with this group where we left off in Otis King's office, as he ripped up the contract because he told them that he was just testing them to see where their loyalties lied. We're told about the new Elysium rules from Tulip, according to Manny, who happens to be Otis's right-hand man. They were asked if Thomas Reginald Hyde had been at the last Elysium, and they referred to him as Cardinal Richelieu, to Otis's D'Artagnan. The group got taken back to the club by Manny, and then later during the week, as we kind of led up to the actual Elysium, Melvin noticed that there had been a firefight at the theater, the telltale signs of some bullet marks in the walls. And at the actual Elysium that took place at Elahe Hills Country Club, they noticed some new faces, and that Harvey Green, the sheriff of the city, had lost most of his left arm. But for the first time, all of the Primogen had been present at Elysium. They also noticed that the Anarch coterie and Otis's King's coterie were also there. Albert talked to Antoine Malcolm Davies for a little bit and sat down to have a sit down with him over the next coming week. Discovered that the country club belongs to Davies himself, and was asked to meet with the entire coterie, and then was even offered Albert one of his estates after he found out that he's been living with Melvin. Connie had Thomas Shepard go up to her, handed her a piece of paper that he was tasked with delivering if something ever happened to Joshua. Melvin was approached by the Nosferatu Primogen and asked about Mickey, who he found out never made it to Chicago. Was tasked with kind of finding out what happened, and it was pointed in the direction of Andreas Barker, who happens to be one of the Free Souls members, who is a motorcycle club that kind of runs through the west side of the United States. The two coteries were introduced to each other, and once the Elysium had actually started, there was a moment of silence for the fallen kindred in the Orpheus fire. Alfred Beckett was declared dead, Joshua Allens was declared dead, Mikhail Voskov was declared dead, and Alice Valance has been declared dead. And in a turn of events, an Archon named Hannah Smalley was introduced direct from Chicago to validate the blood hunt on Yvette Morrison, as well as the blood hunt on Grant Reynolds, and as such, almost summoning him by declaring his name out loud, Grant Reynolds showed up, drew a line in the sand, and then claimed himself Baron of West Salem and declared himself available to anyone who wants to kind of venture into Chapman Corner, after dropping Antoni Marcucci's skull on the floor, who he apparently destroyed. After which, Geraldine Birmingham, the Prince of the City, declared that West Salem and Salem proper were going to be united in one banner for the tower itself. And then, in an uproarious display of power, gave Melvin, Connie, and Albert a domain, excuse me, in West Salem. The domain, actually, of Chapman Corner. Then the prince declared the 4 total locations that were going to be the revolving body of the actual Elysiums moving forward. And with that, Green kind of came over, discussed what the coteries had discovered amongst themselves, revealed that First Light is what the Second Inquisition is calling themselves. And then they asked about Otis King and how... And then they learned that King had tried to topple one of the Primogen a year earlier, but failed, and a couple years earlier, and failed, and has been hiding out in West Salem ever since. They were warned to stay away from Otis King and his coterie. And then the Camarilla group was tasked with finding out why Brian Weston was taking point with his government agency on the attack that brought down the Orpheus Theater. Everything else that I have here is about the Anarch group, so we'll skip that for everybody, and we'll bring right into the actual Camarilla group. Hello, everyone. It's good to see all your faces.
Oh, we're here.
Hi.
Yeah,
Hi.
you. So, the three of you, we're gonna pick up on Monday after the Elysium. So it's June 4th, 1984, and we open up as the evening kind of starts to unfurl for Connie. She's been sitting in Joshua's house, staring at this note that was given to her. Has she opened it?
Nope, but she will now.
Okay.
Well, she's alone. I'm alone.
Yeah. Albert is staying with Melvin still.
Okay. So what I do is with this note in my hand, I take a seat
Yep.
in a nice comfy chair. I take a deep breath and I open the note.
Okay. So it's kind of been sitting there in your periphery for the whole weekend. Excuse me. Is there a reason you think that Connie might have waited to open this up?
I think that Connie is receiving a lot of information very quickly. And knowing what she knows about, knowing what she knows based on what she's learned at the Elysium, and knowing that they've been hunting Joshua, I think that she was giving herself a moment to absorb things. Like I think she was also kicking herself for not opening the note, for being too coward to open the note. She obviously didn't open it at the Elysium because she was scared somebody would like look over her shoulder.
Yeah, of course.
But the reason she hasn't opened it yet is really just cowardice.
Okay.
She doesn't want to see what it says.
And she hasn't mentioned it to Albert or Melvin.
Nope.
Okay. So taking a deep breath, which is just instinctual at this point because you don't really need to. You unfold the note, and the first thing that catches your eye is that this looks just like the other note that he left, where it's just kind of been thought out. There's a lot of scratched out words and phrases, sentences. This looks like this took him time to write. And it says, Connie, first, let me say I'm sorry. I've done a heap of things I need to apologize for, but the list isn't important. My sentiments are. You're going to learn a lot of things about me from here on out. Some of it is true, some of it ain't. Anastasia Richards helped me acquire a safety deposit box in Salem First National Bank before I left. I left my journal there for you, in case you need it. The key to it is hidden. You should have everything you need to figure out where it is by now. Please stay safe. Please know that I tried to do right by you. Always. There's so many things I wanted to show you, so many things I wanted to say, but I hope you don't end up like me. You are the best part of me, Connie. For that, I will never be able to thank you enough. Love you, Josh.
Connie feels gutted, very emotional, frustrated. She's always been a little like, she always kind of fights her humanity a little bit, considering like she really doesn't care to be.
Yeah.
what she is. So in this moment, she feels even more lost and sad and alone and confused. And here's this one man who has really proven to love her, and and now it's like clues.
Yeah, right. It's an interesting dichotomy given the discoveries that she made in the last couple of weeks, especially the container.
Mm-hmm.
This is a side of him that you probably never really got to see. The planner, the kind of conniver, the man's even now is still full of surprises.
And that doesn't take away the fact that I saw my brother um in that container as well. There's a lot of feelings that I have about that,
Mm.
and the fact that I know that these other two that I've grown to be quite attached to don't really think too highly of him either.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Is this something
Hmm.
you want to share with them, or is this something that you want to keep for yourself?
I don't know. There's a fear of judgment that is kind of overwhelming,
Mm.
Connie. Like, the last thing I want to do is uh, I are you purposely muted or
Yeah,
I
this is your moment. I'm just like, who's judged you?
no, I feel like, but because my feelings are very conflicted, and I
Right.
feel like in sharing this new information, especially with Melvin, it will, he'll be more reactive to the fact that, like, but he's a monster, and I'll have to be like, "Well, I love this. He's my monster.
Yeah.
Mine.
He's my monster, and I love him." Um,
Now that we've kind of stepped away from the tender moment, and we have everybody there, is there a date that all of you kind of set up to meet up to check out the diner, the Home on the Range diner?
I mean, I would kind of like to resolve new management and everything as soon as possible, because like I remember that we have somebody on loan, Valerie, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
her sire is eagerly anticipating her getting back to him.
The only pressing matter you have is Thursday is your sit down with Antoine Malcolm Davies.
Well, that's not my pressing matter. That's his pressing matter.
No, it's all of
that's
us.
everyone's
We're all
pressing
going.
matter.
Oh, that's right. Oh my god, that's right. He's made us all
He's
go.
all of us.
Yeah. So until Thursday, you have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to kind of do whatever you want to do.
I mean, I don't know. What do you like? I would say like
I mean, Lunas is
a
good
day
for
or
me.
two after the Elysium. Like that's the way I look at it. Is like I wanted to go as soon as possible. Be like, all right, let's see what kind of shit show we just got involved in right now.
Right?
I need to learn what a burger is. No,
I think Monday's a good day to figure out what exactly is happening at Chapman Court. I think Monday's a good day. I'm doing a character as well.
Yeah,
as
there you
well.
go. There you go.
I think we should meet up on Monday. After the weekend, reconvene, properly understand what's happening over on Chapman Corner before we nestle ourselves into it, and probably stop by the diner. How's Monday for the both of you? I know I'm with Melvin no matter what. So
I'm undead, so that's good for me.
all right, Connie.
Also, I have the van.
Then sure, Monday sounds good to me.
So around an hour after you've had this moment to digest what you've read, you hear the clunker of a van kind of pull up outside.
Sir, I take care of her. I take care of my stolen van.
Yeah, I bet you do. But you hear the very distinct sound of the Van Halen as it approaches your driveway.
I'm so glad you found the time to change the horn.
Yeah.
Honestly, I enjoy this tune so much. Do it again, please. One more time.
That's not gonna get old fast.
At
Connie
all.
just rubs her
It's almost-
temples.
It's almost like an
inside the
accent.
house.
Yeah.
Do you think Connie heard us? Should we do it again?
I'm gonna fold up the note and I'm going to secure it in my bra.
Sure.
And I'm gonna head out the door.
That's a brave move,
A
Connie.
smile on my face.
That's a brave move considering the wet t-shirt contest you were just in a week.
I know.
I don't know how long that shirt's going.
I know. Because I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it, but I'd rather have the note nearby.
You know,
Yeah.
it
Hopefully
is.
the girls will stay in for this episode.
Yeah. It is a Monday, and the wet t-shirt contest was on a Wednesday, so you might
got
luck
2
out.
days.
Ladies' night. I got 2 days.
You got 2
We can
days.
go see it. We can go over there on Wednesday. We can
It's
get some
fine,
extra
but-
gas money.
We're friends with the bar owner.
Oh, that's right. It's Otis King
Friends
Bar.
is loose.
it's a loose interpretation of what happened. But you guys head on over to the Home on the Range diner, and you see that it sticks out like a sore thumb amongst the other kind of buildings that it's surrounded by. Great pains were taken to make this look like a Texas kind of ranch.
Oh no.
Yeah. There is a faux kind of like wagon set up outside. The parking lot also doesn't have like concrete actual like barriers, like it has wooden kind of corral looking barriers. The parking lot itself is kind of like gravel with like no real lines for where to park, just kind of like ideas of where these kind of markers are for where cars should go. And as you pull up, you see that there's already kind of like 5 cars there, but a family is kind of like leaving. And behind the counter, as you kind of take a look at your new kind of home base, as it were, here in West Salem, you'll see what is an average height woman of what looks to have once been golden blonde hair that is now turned like dirty blonde. She's kind of walking around. It looks to be the only real server at the moment. From the top, though, you do see that there is a kind of little sliver of smoke that kind of is making its way up into the clouds. So the kitchen is definitely open. Somebody's definitely manning it. Excuse me. But if you walk in, you'll see that she has a very calm blue eyes as she kind of turns her attention towards you. She kind of smiles with her ruby red lips, and she starts to walk over towards the 3 of you. Good evening, y'all. How can I help you?
Hello. Does your name happen to be Valerie?
She points at the name plate on her apron, which says Valerie H. She's like, "You found me. How can I be of service?"
Mr. Hyde sent us this way.
Oh, are you
Yeah.
Mr. Wright? It's a pleasure to meet you. You see her extend her
No.
hand.
No, I'm Professor Frost. This is Mr. Wright.
The pretty one. And I put my hand out.
She shakes it. She's like, "Oh, all right. Then you must be Connie. such a pleasure to meet you. Right this way. And she kind of leaves the menus where they are, and she kind of leads you to a booth. She's like, I'm to understand that you are of persuasion, just like Mr. Hyde, so I'll get you the regular. And she kind of goes behind the counter. She comes back with a slice of pie, 3 forks, and 3 kind of mugs for coffee, and then just leaves a percolator at the edge of the table. Like, for appearances, as I've come to understand.
Oh, I like that. That's smart. Oh, that's very smart.
So you tend to have a mixed clientele here, you'd say?
Oh yeah. The 3 that you see here are just some of the regulars. Your kind doesn't come in until much later. Mr. Hyde has made it quite obvious that this is a safe haven, or was. I'm not sure what you want to do with this situation.
I think I have to talk to my fellow owners, I guess, here. That's weird to say. But I think keeping it business as usual, if it's been working so far, may be ideal. That's one of the reasons I asked Mr. Hyde for some of your additional time of your services.
Oh, of course, I understand completely. We will need to come up with nicknames for the 3 of you, as the late evening clientele all kind of operate under the blanket of nicknames as opposed to actual names.
You can call me Simon Winchester.
Oh no, honey. God bless you. It's a 1-word nickname. Like.
Oh,
I just lean over to her. I go, just call him Slim.
All right, that works. We don't have a Slim.
oh, I like that. Slim. We can call you Melvin the Mask, because you wear the mask. How do we like the mask? No, Valerie.
I look up at Valerie. I go,
She looks down at the 3 of you for a moment. I'll let you think about what you're gonna call yourselves, and let me go take care of Charlie over there. She kind of starts walking over to a different table.
That sounds like the mask.
The mask.
Listen, why don't you just call me Vamp?
Yeah, really.
That's not a nickname.
Hey, Drake, because you since you like telling everybody all about my life, what you need to you were telling everybody at the Elysium.
Do you want to be called Drake? That doesn't sound like a good nickname. Because I mean, I understand what you're going for, and I would presume that would actually be Drac. If we're actually going off of what I presume you're going off of, Drac, because the ending of Yula. But it's fine. I understand. It's fine. It's fine.
Connie, help me. Connie.
I do presume. Oh, we could call you the mechanic because of all the good work you've done with the car, with the van. With the horn. Connie, did you hear the horn earlier? He did it a couple of days ago.
Oh yeah, no, I did. How about not the mechanic? Well, does it have to be a noun, or can it be?
Why am I still in?
Okay. Hey, why are you slim?
Yes.
What have you looked in a mirror? Oh, you can't look in a mirror.
No, I haven't. I haven't looked in a mirror for probably 70 years.
I can tell. Just call me Mac. Just call me Mac. Okay. Let's just keep it simple.
Mac.
Keep it. Mac. You're Slim. I'm Mac.
Mac.
Connie, what are you doing?
I love Brecht.
I'll be
Beyond the Sea starts to play in the jukebox.
Does it?
Mm-hmm. Bobby Darin.
Ooh, I'll be Bobby.
But with an I?
Sure. Bobby with an I.
Bobby with an I.
Right, I can't wait for Valerie to come back.
Yep.
Also, we should probably get a complete rundown of the business of operations and whether or not they pay tax, or if this is something funneled to the tower or whatnot. Because if that's
I,
the case, then we're going to need to. I would strictly suggest that we revamp the whole restaurant because I'm not sure if this is what West Salem wants instead of a traditional diner setting.
there's they've been in the business and it's been working. You know,
There's like 4 people here, not including us.
3.
There's 3
3.
people, not including us.
Right. I understand.
And we're
but
not
it's still
paying
around.
for this meal. I'm just saying, from a strictly financial gain situation, this may be something we want to look into.
Did you want to turn? Let me guess. You're going to make it Atlantis themed. Is that what you want to do? Is that what you want to do? You want to make? You want to have like a?
That wasn't my initial thought. I was just going to go for a more home style American kind of diner thing. But now that you've mentioned it,
No, we can't have more people in the desert. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, I'm so thrilled about having a Brit tell me all about traditional American cuisine.
I've lived here almost my whole life.
Yeah, and how long of that have you eaten traditional American cuisine?
I went in maybe to 2 diners once.
2 diners one time?
2 diners one time.
No.
Was it like a Vegas thing? You walked into one, you could walk through the lobby, end up in the second?
No, I went to one diner once, and then I went to a different diner once. This diner not included.
So this is your 3rd diner.
This is my 3rd diner, and now
I grab the coffee cup and I kind of sniff it.
Yeah, I mean it's empty.
Oh, so it's empty. Oh, I thought that maybe the appearances was that there was.
No, the percolator is full of coffee in case you wanted to pour yourself coffee, and it is hot.
Okay,
there's a little bit of steam that kind of simmers out.
I'll pour some just because not a full cup, just so it looks like I've been drinking.
Okay. It smells like traditional Colombian coffee at this point. It has a rich kind of robustness to it. It smells a little acrid though, like you definitely would have put sugar in this. And Valerie kind of saddles up as you pour yourself a cup. Oh, making yourself at home, I see. Good, excellent. So what can I do for you?
Val,
and you see her pull up a chair and she kind of sits at the end of the booth.
Well, you can call me Mac.
Mac. She writes it down.
That's Bobby with an I.
And Bobby.
With an I.
Right.
With an I.
But
Make sure you pronounce it with an I and not a Y.
Yeah, exactly.
I will sure try my best.
There's an acento. No.
Bobby.
Bobby.
How do you like the decor? And as she kind of motions, you see cowboy hats of different sizes. You see like horns that belong to different kind of cows and steers, and like maybe a deer set of antlers.
What are your thoughts on Atlantis?
I mean, it's not real.
I think we're going to have a difference of opinions there, but all right.
So, Val, I guess my question to you would be, how's the business? Is this decor? And I mean, you're here and all the time. Mr. Hyde trusts you with this. From a business standpoint, do you think that this is doing its job, or do you think that it could maybe have some updating done to it?
I mean, we have regulars that come in. The 3 behind me in particular are some of our regulars. So as far as like, does the diner lift itself up by its own bootstraps? Yes, it does. It manages to kind of survive month to month. We're of the good graces of Mr. Hyde, as he kind of procured all of these accoutrements, as he likes to say, of his own kind of bank. So this didn't cost the diner anything.
My question to you then is, with the removal of Mr. Hyde from the board, so to speak, is there outside funds that keep the diner afloat, or with his removal from management, can the diner continue to succeed?
Oh, the diner can continue to succeed, no doubt. We're gonna have to scale back a lot of the monthly events that we normally do.
Like what?
Monthly events.
Yeah, we have like a once a month thing, to kind of drum up business here and there, depending things like that.
What kind of events?
She's like, well, it's June, so I believe we're gonna have a midsummer party. Every June we do a kind of a pie eating contest. Celebrate the midsummer.
Sounds like a wonderful night.
Oh, it's a
Like a
good time.
dream.
It's a good time. We have the pie eating contest. We have a pie tasting to determine who has brought in the best pie.
All right.
And they're kind of like, separated by fruit and by style.
Would you say
Valerie.
would you say that the diner is there a direct specialty that it focuses on, such as pies, or is it more so the aesthetic of the Western ideal?
Oh, here. She kind of rushes over back to the entrance and she comes back with a menu. He's like, we're all about Americana, down home cooking. Billy in the back does a good a mean old set of grits if you're into that.
And if we were to add fish and chips to the menu, what would you suspect would be the response?
I mean, it wouldn't be that difficult. Just we would have to try to figure out how to order fish moving forward.
No, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. He talks sometimes. I more importantly, Valerie, I know you're kind of on borrowed time with us. Is there somebody that you may recommend that would be open to the same kind of, I don't know, circumstances of your relationship with Mr. Hyde? If you catch my drift.
I do. And I'm gonna say that you're gonna need more than just one. I don't know if Mr. Hyde regaled you with the logistics of the situation, but everyone that works here is part of his kind of group.
Mm-hmm. Understand.
Except Billy. Billy doesn't fit his criteria.
Does Billy get paid then?
Oh yeah, of course, Billy gets paid.
What would you say his salary is?
We give him, I believe, 1,000 a week.
Now, Valerie,
Valerie.
Yeah, well,
Valerie,
he's a really good cook.
I hate to and you see me kind of get like uncomfortable,
Mhm.
and I cross my arms and I'm like, he's not his type. You said.
Mhm.
Would this be possibly because of skin color, or because
You see her put her
Mr. Hyde.
hand, she puts her hand to her chest, to like the top of her chest. She's like, "Are you inciting that Mr. Hyde is a racist?" And she leans in. She's like, "Cause he is."
and I go, darling, and I do the worst like Southern accent ever. I go, darling, I saw him do it right in front of my face.
Oh yeah,
So that
Most unsettling.
yeah. He's an old man, set in old ways. So I don't really let it bother me. But yeah, Billy, the night cook, is much better than Tommy, our day cook. So Tommy only gets 500 a week. But Tommy also only works here from like noon when we open until the sun goes down, and Billy kind of takes over until 5 in the morning when we close up.
Okay.
What's interesting? It's not a 24-hour diner.
Yeah, that's one thing I would change because we're closing right before the breakfast rush. You're losing a whole lot of business there. But my question would be, so is Billy aware of the situation?
Oh no, no. Billy and
No.
Tommy don't know anything.
So
Okay.
Tommy's not of your persuasion as well.
Oh no, Tommy's white.
No,
Is he just an asshole?
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, your relationship to Mr. Hyde
Oh no, he's not part of the
group.
what we would call a harem.
All right, your harem. So Billy and Tommy are not part of the harem.
Correct.
They just get paid.
Right. And she kind
Do
of
you
leans in
not
and
get paid?
she kind of leans in. And she's like, "They have penises."
Oh, it's a men thing. Connie, Melvin, it's a men thing.
No. He's also very racist. She just whispered that.
No. I was
Right.
standing. Remember, I was standing right next to you when he
He's
said those
also a
things.
blatant racist.
Well, wait. So Tommy is white.
Mhm. Yep.
And Billy is.
Not.
Yeah, that's the best way to
But
say
Billy's
it.
getting paid more.
Because
Right.
Billy's good.
Right.
That's why we need to figure out a
Billy's
way of
good.
talking to Billy.
So he's a racist, but not when he's a racist though.
Yeah, but he's a racist.
Right.
He's a
okay,
racist
cool.
who likes women only.
Gotcha.
That's what we've gotten from Mr. Hyde. Yeah.
Valerie, could you do me a favor?
Sure.
I am unable to make phone calls because I have a friend of your similar persuasion.
What?
Yes, but
And
the
a
other
woman.
the other one,
Oh.
the harem persuasion.
Right.
I have not spoken to her in a while, and I don't know if she still lives in this apartment. But here's her apartment phone number. Can you kindly ask her to come here alone and say it's a job offer? Are we all good with this? Should I do this? Because we have the tools to get someone working here as Valerie's replacement when she leaves.
Yeah. Okay. What experience does she have? Has she ever worked in a restaurant?
I think she did part-time before she went to school.
Okay, because
been a while since we
Valerie here, and I look at her and I give her like a wink. I go, Valerie here is indispensable.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Isn't Mr. Hyde? I apologize for talking to you about you as though you're not here. Isn't Mr. Hyde taking Valerie away at the end of the week?
Yeah.
There's no specified time when I step
I
away.
thought it was. I apologize.
No,
for that.
that's all right.
I just know you'll be leaving us soon, which is sad.
Yes, of course.
Do you, Valerie? Do you know anybody that may be outside of his harem that may be a quality replacement that you would think could fill your shoes, even if it was just with a little bit of training from you?
I mean, if a girl is smart and pays attention, it isn't a difficult job. It's just the hours are just murder if you're not used to them.
Well, if we can get a couple more girls or men, because I'm not
equal opportunity.
I'm equal opportunity here. We could probably cut down the workload for folks and maybe open this 24 hours.
Sure. I mean, you might have to get rid of Tommy then.
Why would you get rid of Tommy?
Tommy, God bless him, his heart's in the right place, but that boy can't cook water.
So why does he still have a job here?
Because sandwiches aren't difficult to make, and we don't let him cook unless he's supervised. Day crew is completely different, you understand.
I understand, because there's an intensity with the night and what it brings.
Of course.
Present party included.
Now, And I look around kind of a little bit. I'm like, does Mr. Hyde keep special accommodations here?
Oh no. That's something that people understand, that this is not a Safeway house or anything like that. This is strictly come in, do
Legal
business,
business.
and go about your business somewhere else. We are not equipped
So
for
he doesn't
that.
have an office or anything here.
No, I mean there's an office, but it's not his. It's mine.
Understand.
Is there accommodations food wise for Mr. Hyde and his type? Our type, so to
I
speak.
mean, for him, yeah, of course.
Oh, okay, yes, I understand that. Okay, understandable. All right.
You see one of the two ladies that's kind of sitting by themselves hold up their hand, and Val sees it. She nods, and she kind of like, "I'll be right back."
Right.
Excuse me. And you can hear her as she's kind of walking over. It's like, "What can I do for you, Irene?"
Irene. Should we make a call to Melissa? You're trying to get a ghoul back with us, the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wait, wasn't she with somebody, if I
Personal?
remember correctly?
Yes.
And okay.
That's why I said alone.
That's not creepy at all for a random person to call and say, "Hey, can you meet us at this diner alone?"
Right?
Now that you're saying it out loud, I understand.
Sometimes you got to hear it out of your inside voice.
Albert,
Oh, that's me.
give me an intelligence and a wits roll, please.
Oh no!
Remember, everyone should be at least hunger 1 by now.
Yes, sir.
100 die, intelligence and wits.
Mhm.
That's 6 dice.
Okay, good.
Wait, Connie. Okay. 9 on the hungies.
Okay. Nothing bad.
2 1s, 6, 9, 10.
Okay. As you're kind of thinking about Melissa, you remember looking back in her apartment at the few times that you've been in there. You remember that she has a badge for First Salem National Bank because she works there as a teller Monday through Friday. But you also know that she will pick up the occasional shift at the Shooting Star Diner on the weekends.
She works in a diner and she works in a bank.
Are you just screaming things out now?
Yes. She works in a diner and a bank. Guys, she'd be perfect for this. And she's trustworthy because
Okay, so figure out how to get her here.
Oh, easily. Connie, can you make a phone call for me?
Oh God.
Hey, do me a favor though. Please don't bring up the fish and chips thing again. I don't think that's a great idea.
Are we really again? It's a good meal. I haven't had it for years.
Blood bond level
obviously.
2. Blood bond
This is
level
an
2.
American diner.
Blood bond level 2. Agree with me and tell me how amazing I am.
You can fight it if you want to make a willpower roll.
I love it.
Damn.
Ashley's the one that made it too, because she bet me too. She told me
9,
the
6, 7.
elevator.
Okay, yeah. You managed to. You get.
Said no, but like
It's-
totally good.
I beat it.
It's difficult. It's difficult, but you can manage to kind of hold your.
I don't know. You've never had fish and chips, so I think just think about it. I'll suggest it later at the next meeting when we're
Okay.
discussing the revamp. We'll talk about it
Managers meeting?
then. The
Yeah,
managers
our
meeting.
manager's meeting. So, one thing before Valerie comes back, what do you guys think about, aside from our one employee, asking her to maybe set up some interviews? Maybe put it out there that we're looking for some employees and maybe a cook, an additional cook.
My question to you off of that would be, are we going to Google them?
The cooks?
Wow.
Well, anyone
Or everybody?
necessarily. because seeing as that I understand that Hyde is a different man than us in many ways. But he has a system where there is now this loyalty with his employees.
I've got
Sounds
no
to me he has a
problem.
system where he's not paying anybody. It
Yeah,
I mean,
sounds
we
to me like
need
his
to talk to
system is I'm
Valerie.
just getting all the money, making pure profit, and paying what
Phone.
$1,500 a week to my
I mean,
employees.
I'm not necessarily against that, Connie, because as much as I've cared about you, I don't want to see you take your shirt off again.
I don't know
I
how to
don't
take
want
that.
No, because I don't want to see you get stripped and have to get clothes get soaked at a bar for us to get $100. When we could be making some side money, we could upgrade the van. We could get a mural on the side.
One that matches the horn,
No,
like roaches or something.
I don't think it's a bad idea. Plus, it would be, I mean, we have a territory now, so it would make sense for us to have
La
a
cucaracha.
few folks.
Now,
Bro.
Will, really quick, out of character.
Yep.
I know that if I ghoul somebody, I deform them, right?
Depends. It depends on how strong the blood takes to them.
So it's a hit or miss.
Mhm.
Okay.
What's up to
Back in
me?
game.
And
So back in
I'll
game. I was I just tell you, I'm like, I have no problem doing it. They just may not be as pretty depending on how it goes.
Well, I've been itching to make a ghoul, you see. So
You had the
Oh, you
opportunity.
thought about it. You thought it through instead of just doing it at the whim. Like other
no, I
people.
haven't thought it through. This is my thinking it through. I think it could be fun.
One, you weren't there. Two, I saved her life.
I was there for the hilarity that followed in the apartment. And I got a buckshot in the back because of her. Because she was in the apartment. She was in the apartment when we were leaving when the agent showed up.
That's true. That's true. We brought her back to her apartment, and then we went to your
Yes.
apartment,
Yes, it was.
and that's when the agents came.
So that
No.
you guys are aware, the Chapman Corner domain that you have is not large. It extends from one edge of Straub Middle School down to Chapman Hill Elementary School, as far as north and south. East to west, you have what is Titan Drive over to Orchard Heights Park. That's your current domain.
You know, it's I before E except after C, but then in the word heights, it's HEIGHTS.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I don't why is that rule? Why does it exist?
English is a dumb language.
Yeah.
You are absolutely right.
Just to bother you.
It's just dumb.
What was the name of the middle school?
Chapman Heights.
Oh,
Right?
I thought that was the elementary school.
Chapman Hill.
Yeah, Chapman Hill Elementary School, Straub Middle School, STRAUB.
I think but we can keep it as is with Billy, but I don't know how about this Tommy guy.
I think that there's some. I think that we should have. Maybe we should make introductions to some of our current staff, and figure out what Tommy's deal is, and then decide, because it seems to me that Tommy would be very upset if he were to come to learn that someone is making double his salary. And I wonder why. I'm not saying we should tell him. I'm just saying I need to know why he's employed here. Plus, it would still make sense for us to take on another cook, even if it's 3 cooks, because we're thinking about keeping this place open 24 hours, right?
Yeah,
So
because closing
so
at 5 a.m. doesn't make sense.
right. So you would probably need a cook to come in at 5 and until 12 or whatever, 12, 1 o'clock, right?
Someone who can make a good, decent breakfast.
Valerie
Yeah.
comes back over. All right, where do we leave off?
Valerie, how much do you get paid?
I make about 800 a week plus tips.
All right. And the other servers? Actually, could you just could you
That
bring
blows
me a
my
pay
mind right
log?
now.
Plus tips?
Hey guys, I quit being a vampire. I'm gonna be a waitress here.
I know. I'm like, plus tips? 800 a week plus tips?
He makes more than I
This?
do in my current corporate job.
I
Real job.
I mean, Mr. Hyde didn't make me the manager, so that comes with perks.
Could you
Oh.
possibly bring me over like a pay log along with
Yeah, all the sound.
orders, just like all those documents, so we can look over it here at the table?
Yeah, sure.
Before you go do that, Valerie, 1 second.
Hmm.
Really quick, just so about how many people would you say are on staff right now? Just so we have an idea of, since I believe most of them will be leaving with you, as they are Mr. Hyde's.
There are 6 total staff. The 2 cooks, Billy and Tommy, myself, and the 3 other girls.
And 4 of you of the 6 are leaving,
Correct.
presumably. All right. I have a question. Is Mr. Hyde going to open up a rival diner?
I mean, I doubt it.
All right,
He has other businesses that he's already kind of mentioned to us.
Wonderful,
Now,
wonderful.
Valerie, do you, as somebody who's been involved in this, do you think that it could go with some cleaning up of the theme? I know that a lot of this charcuterie was because of Mr. Hyde and his collection. Do you think that there would be a different type of restaurant, being as that you've been in this area for a while, that would maybe entice more people to come in to, potentially bring some more business or make it a little bit more of a nicer safe haven, especially, the clientele, both morning and evening, that come?
That's a good question. I think people have kind of come to rely on the homey feel that they get coming into the diner. Could some of the things go away? Sure, of course. I mean, you wouldn't believe how many people I've caught fucking in the middle of that wagon outside.
It's a nice wagon.
Yeah, and if the wagons are rocking, don't come a knocking, but it's part of my job.
All right. Well, what we'd like to do is potentially, and I don't know if you maybe got some friends outside of his quote unquote, and I put air quotes, group. We were interested in potentially maybe doing some interviews, or having potentially you do some interviews.
Sure, I can put the word out.
Folks.
What are you looking for?
Well, we're gonna need at least for now 4 waitresses. And I look at you guys and I'm like, maybe another cook,
Possibly 2. We're keeping Tommy for sure. We're keeping Billy for sure.
Do you need any of them to have managerial experience, or are you gonna?
I have possibly someone in mind for you to train. She works at a bank and a diner.
Oh, good for her. What
Yes.
diner has she worked at?
What was her name? Starlight?
No, it's a diner in Miami.
Oh.
Yeah.
My brain's all buzzed.
The Shooting Star Diner.
The Shooting Star Diner.
She works at that shithole?
Yes.
Oh. I mean, yeah, I could train her then. They do things differently over there, so she might like it here.
Well, she's definitely more the persuasion of the harem, if you understand what I mean.
I mean, when you said she, I understood what you meant.
If I could get a he into my harem.
I'm not saying you couldn't. I'm just saying that I understood what you meant when you said it was a she.
Oh, right.
Connie, do you have any questions, Connie? Any concerns?
Um,
'Cause I'm about to go into that wagon and just crawl into a ball and
well, Valerie, tell us what we don't know. What should we know about the goings on here that would be really important for us to address or to maintain?
Well, I haven't seen them in a while, but we used to get this rowdy bunch of people coming in from the north end. Charlie over there is part of the group, but ever since a few years back, I think I think they've kind of like slacked off, and they don't really come around here as often, but they do kind of, every so often you'll see some people kind of coming in and making a ruckus. They're not dangerous. They haven't been dangerous. It's just, they're rowdy.
What was the
Right.
last time that we saw this rowdy bunch?
I want to say maybe the beginning of March when it was still cold, still nice and cool.
And what about the rest of the neighborhood around here?
That's not
Specifically in Mr. Hyde's domain, I would say,
sure. Neighborhood's not dangerous. It's not terrible. There's some nice people around here. We have the schools nearby. So it's kind of like a homely kind of territory. Mr. Hyde's done his best to kind of instill that in the group's population in this kind of area of the city. I myself live a few blocks down from here, so I walk to work. It's not terrible. I mean, it's not Salem town. It's not Southwest Salem. Like the riverfront. That's dangerous.
Well, I don't know if Salem or Bobby with an I have any further questions, but I think setting up those interviews would be ideal.
Of course.
Just so we can get this moving. I know you're anxious to probably get back to Mr. Hyde.
Do you want to be present for these, or should I handle them on my own?
I look at you guys.
I would like to be present for some of them.
Could we arrange them all for Wednesday in the evening?
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's a little short notice. Give
Friday?
me a couple of weeks, I think, to gather up a group.
All right.
And you'd be okay staying on for that time?
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Hyde's still paying me.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much,
Sure.
Valerie.
Sure. You see her start to clear up the cups and the percolator.
Mighty good pie.
Yeah. Some would say it's the best in West Salem.
I kind of stand up.
Mhm.
Just tell you guys, maybe we should continue our conversation in the van or the wagon.
Oh, yes, let's see the wagon.
Sure.
So
If you guys do approach the actual wagon outside, it is an actual Wild West wagon. Restored, obviously, but it is same kind of mechanisms and design and architecture that you kind of imagine that something like this is an heirloom.
You think this was his?
Could be. It could
You
be.
probably wrote in on that.
Do you think he'd be upset if we sold it?
Do you want to take that risk right now?
I think we should keep it. I think it would be weird for us to change the theme all of a sudden if they have loyal clientele and stuff.
I think it's
Insane.
look what's working. It's working right now. I think it's if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we can find a better chef or a couple better chefs than Tommy. Maybe that'll start bringing more folks in if the food starts getting that much better.
I agree.
We also need some more events or something to bring in more clientele because we don't have deep pockets to be paying people $800 a week right now.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming I this deed. That's something I need to talk to Valerie about next time we come back. The accounts, because we got to change all the account information to us.
We're standing outside.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Oh, you
But
want to
this
go
is a
back
nice
in and
ride.
talk?
I mean, if you have a question, we can go back in.
I mean, we can. Yeah, I mean, we can. I guess I just. Yeah, why not? I just walk right back. I just go back in real quick.
Okay.
Go. That I just kind of signal to Valerie.
She, you see here that she's with at the table with the other female that she didn't go to. She kind of excuses herself and comes back over. Yeah, love. What can I do for you?
Sweetheart, I forgot to ask you one final question. Because I know, obviously, we're going to be wanting to pay our new employees.
Sure.
And I showed her the deed. I go, we've taken over ownership of the diner now. At the where I met Mr. Hyde, there wasn't really time for the details of the banking portion of this. Is that something you take care of, or is that something
I'm
we're
sure
going to need to take care of?
Mr. Hyde will take care of that in due time. Would you like me to remind him?
That would be wonderful.
All right, fantastic. I will put that on my list as well, and I'll try to have all of that together for you in the next couple of weeks. Is there a number that I can reach you at? Or will your friend ruin the phone?
I'm not that bad at. It's all
I
gonna
don't
melt
have
in
a.
my
I don't
hand.
have a. I don't think I have a. Did I say if I had a cell? I don't remember if I have a phone in my Haven. I don't think I do.
I don't think you do.
I might have a phone. Probably have a phone in Joshua's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just here's my number.
All right. I will let you know once everything is set up.
Okay.
Y'all have a good night. Be safe.
You too, Dar.
You too.
Thank you.
And
You
as
too.
she turns around, she's like, "All right, Kathy, where do we leave off?"
All right. I go. So we go out. I get into the van. So a lot happened at that Elysium, and we really haven't had a chance to talk.
We met some nice people.
Yeah, we did. I really like that Mustang girl.
Well, I was a very big fan
Yeah.
of Mr.
She was
Barker.
cool.
Andreas, I believe his name was. He seemed very quaint.
You didn't like him, or you did?
No,
'Cause
he seemed very quaint. The politician looking fellow that you both knew, I did not like him at all.
I think the feeling was mutual there on his part. But no, that Barker guy, he I can see some mutually beneficial collaborations between him and myself, given especially the one of the things I wanted to bring up to you guys. Losing Mickey, or potentially losing Mickey, I need to try to figure out more information on that. I need to find out about that convoy.
Where do we start?
I know Mr. Barker's trying to get some information since his motorcycle club was involved. So I'm trying to give him a little bit of time there, but I'm going to try to put some feelers out to my network
Mhm.
and see what's going on there. But that's definitely some things that I have in mind. Also, we got to figure out what we're going to do with Grant Reynolds. How we're going to deal with him, because he's apparently the Baron of this part of this area, a self-proclaimed Baron, and nobody, he I mean, he knew the Elysium was a safe place, and nobody's going to fight there. But still, it takes some balls, living or dead, to go out there and do that.
I think
Um,
I believe this may be something we want to talk to Mr. King about, seeing as he was setting up for the capture of Mr. Reynolds. If we could get
what
his coterie to come in and help, so it's more of a even fight, I would say, if it has to become one.
I definitely think that we discreetly should meet with him or his coterie, or make some kind of communications.
It could even
But
just be one of us, if need be, so that
well, here's you gotta tread the water there, Albert, because everybody at the Elysium made it a point to say to not get involved with him.
Yeah.
I don't know
why?
how I feel. Well, that's something else we might need to figure out why. But um, you know, he's been following and having some of his folks follow. He mentioned it, that he's been having his folks follow Grant Reynolds. They've just given him free reign and a loose leash to do what he needs to do, but they'll definitely have more information than what we have right now. And I mean, we've also got the stuff with Yvette Morrison. There's a bloodhound on her.
And we have no leads on her location.
We now are in a strange position, the three of us. We've been given, although I'm hesitant to say, but given the power, given that we're sharing a domain with Diablerizer, who's self-proclaimed himself the Baron of this area. Which, I'm, as much as I love you both, I don't think the three of us could take him.
No, not in the slightest.
No.
So we have to try to outsmart him.
Have we considered pitting two dogs against one another?
We don't know his connection with Morrison. Wasn't he mentioned in the list of her potential? What's the word I'm looking for? Co-conspirators. I remember there was a list of 4 or 5 other kindred
Let me go up.
that were
Yeah, they thought that he was here for her. That's
right.
obviously been revised as of Elysium.
I think, and hear me out. This is going to be tricky, but what I think is he has claimed our. Oh, do I have a sneeze? No, I don't. He has claimed our domain as his domain. So granted, so we know he's already going to be there. I believe that we meet him on the edge of the domain and talk to him, and every day we continue this until we have a closer relationship with him. And in doing so, we begin to seed the threat of Yvette until it becomes his idea that he needs to go after her. That way, one of them is going to kill the other one, and we know that. And when they are at their weakest, we come in with whoever we need behind us and take that down. That is this is just a borderline baseline first draft of a thought, but it is what I can presume would be the most logical. why do the dirty work ourselves when we can have two? Why take down two titans when the titans can fight each other out? You know?
I like that idea, but you're basically proposing us to stand on the highway while 18 wheelers driving at us at 100 miles an hour. Because he can. I don't know what I did or what I said to make him not murder me, but apparently I've got a good enough rapport that he didn't. But he can kill you by just basically thinking about it. So you're running the risk of going there and wanting to talk to him. He may not want to talk to you. He may see you as the next meal. So you're taking a very, very, very crazy chance that in doing that.
I mean, was it not a crazy chance to load a bunch of men into a wooden horse, then walk it into a city? It worked. This could be our Trojan horse, so to speak. It's a risk. I understand that. It's not. This would not be my first choice. It is just the first thought.
I like your idea, but I think there might be a better way of going around it. I don't know what you think, Connie.
I like the idea. It's a dangerous game to play when we don't have a whole lot of defense. I think I would rather play the game and subtly create a few more allies out of other strong groups that could potentially, grow our numbers enough in the event that these very skilled and old vampires start to put two and two together and pin us as the common denominator when things start going awry. That's not to say I don't like the idea, but it definitely the plan needs a little bit more finesse. And maybe it's a good thing that we've acquired this corner. We could start utilizing the diner as a, promoting it as as it is now as a continued safe haven for vampires and other, supernatural phenomena, and that could slowly grow our network of people and creatures. That would make it easier to spread the lie. Where we don't have to be, you know what I mean? Like we don't have to be the ones to, if we're going to start it, we could start it subtly in a way that it doesn't tie directly to us. Maybe using the clientele could do something for us. There's that rowdy group, right, that we don't know much about. I have a feeling that rowdy group is probably that motorcycle gang. I'm sure there's a way that we could start building start playing chess with a few of these pawns and see how they fight each other without getting super dirty in it.
There is also an even worse third option.
Oh, do
And
tell.
it's because we have this first light gentleman that we need to find. So what if we convinced Mr. Brian Weston somehow that Mr. Reynolds killed his brother? So now it's First Light versus Grant Reynolds, and then that could theoretically take care of two birds.
Here's my only concern with that. Where is Grant Reynolds located?
Our corner.
So you're going to bring the thunder down on our domain.
Not if we set him up. All right. In theory, here it is. In theory, we. So you can go invisible.
He saw me.
No, hear me out. Completely in theory. You and Reynolds are now out hunting or something. First light happens to show up. You go invisible while they have mark on him. You get out of there. We all hope and pray to whatever gods behold us that Reynolds goes down. And if not, first light goes down and we accept Reynolds as our Baron or something.
Here's the other problem with a Diabolizer. You don't know what the tricks they have up their sleeve.
Oh, not at all. He may be topped off on Nosferatu, but who knows if he has Gangrel or La Sombra.
This conversation definitely has steered away from restaurant management.
Yep.
The Elysium had a whole lot going on.
Yep. So you guys take off from the diner. Drop everybody off. And we find you back again outside Connie's on Thursday night.
Honk the horn. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Where did you even find a horn like that? Who do you know?
There's a very
I can't
silent
tell you.
Volkswagen bug somewhere in the world.
Yep.
I kind of want to I step outside and I kind of wave them to park and ask them to come in.
Okay. You are meeting Antoine at the Elahe Country Club, just so you're aware.
We're gonna be late for dinner.
I know. But I've been sitting on this information for a while, and it's taken me a while to want to bring this up to you. And I felt like if I don't bring it up to you now, then I won't bring it up to you, and I think it's only fair that I do. Another thing that happened at the Elysium, a messenger came to find me. His name was Thomas Shepard. And he handed me a note. And that note was from Joshua. And it was a note that he was asked to give me in the event that something happened to him.
Right.
And in that note, he mentions an errand that he wants me to run. There's a series of clues that he's left for me to find a key, to open up a safety deposit box that might have something that could be helpful for me and possibly the three of us. I don't want to. I could do this on my own, but don't want to. I know how you feel about him, and I get it, but he's my sire, and this is all I have left of him, and who knows if I'll see him again. And I just I feel like I need to get what he left for me. So we'll go to dinner, and if you want to look at the note, I have it on me. But I just wanted you to know that that's what I want to do.
Well,
If that's something you want to do, I'm with you.
absolutely, 100%.
Plus, you guys are so good at puzzles.
Are we though?
Yeah,
Are
right?
we?
I'm just flattering you so you'll be excited to join me.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah, sure, we can be excited. Sure, absolutely. Oh, woo, hooray! A key. Safety deposit books. Missing man.
There's a knock.
That's-
There's a knock at the door.
Oh shit.
I shoot it with my M1911. No, I'm just.
I
You need
guess
a new
I'll
door.
go. I guess I'll go check. Is there a peephole in the door?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, is it
We-
someone I recognize?
We've established that. It is one of the people that you recognize from Elysium. Yes. It's a young
Fantastic.
lady who looks a little worse for wear.
Oh goodness. Okay.
What?
Oh, good. More things.
I turned to you guys. I'm like, there's a battered vampire out
Oh,
there.
wonderful. All right.
Um,
Hey, are you gonna? Are
well,
you gonna?
sorry.
We just let it sit out
Are
there.
you, yeah, are you gonna open it, or are you gonna? Do you
Should we go
recognize who it is?
should we
Just staying
go and
inside.
hide again?
Sorry. I'll just I guess I'll open the door.
Yep. You see
So
the girl smile as you open the door. Hi, are you Connie?
Close the door.
uh I'm gonna meet her on the porch. I'm
Okay.
gonna like open the door and just kind of close the door behind me
Okay.
and be like, how can I help you?
I was sent to give this to you in your coterie, and she kind of pulls her backpack up forward. Excuse me. And you see her pull out some rather very official looking folders
We got subpoenaed.
that
Damn it.
have SPD on them.
SPD?
Yep.
Salem Police Department?
Salem Police Department. She hands you the
Okay.
folders.
Thanks.
I was told that your coterie member Melvin can figure out what's going on here.
If I see him, I will show him.
All right. It's nice to meet you. My name's Tulip, by the way. She holds out her hand.
Nice to meet you, Tulip. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for coming by. Okay.
You see her get into a car and drive off.
Okay, perfect. I come inside I open the door, I close it behind me, and I just hold up this folder and say, Tulip gave this to me.
It's
and said
three separate folders.
Gave these to me. Said that, Melvin, you might be someone who could help with what's in these folders. What's happening?
A girl with a flower name gave you paper for me. Let me take a look at them.
Okay, here you go.
I also want to look.
Is your name Melvin? And I clutch him to my chest like pearls. No, I'm just kidding.
There's three, one for each of us.
I go forward. You start moving around papers. I flip it over and I see the SPD thing.
Yep. Remember that Tulip is one of the Nosferatu in the city, and she's also recently been declared a new harpy.
Oh, that's right. Okay. I tell you that.
Do I know what a harpy is?
I don't think you would. You could try to make a... Let's see. Have you make intelligence and occult roll?
Just an occult. Nine on the hungies. 8, 9, and 4.
Yep. You kind of remember Isabella telling you something about the roles that are given out when you're part of the Camarilla. Excuse me. Like the sheriff is the one that lays out the law. The whips are kind of like their scouts. You know that archons are like whips, but they're based out of the tower. They're not based out of a city, so they have much more power, almost equivalent to that of a prince. But you know that they answer to something called Justicar, and a Justicar is like the enforcer of all rules and whatnot that deal with the tower. They definitely have if not as much power as the prince, definitely more power. Harpy is one of those that kind of got lost in the muddle of roles like that, the steward, things like that. They kind of weren't really impressive to you, so they weren't kind of cataloged. Excuse me. You're assuming that a harpy is kind of, if it fits the mythological sense of the word, that they're definitely like rumor mongers.
Okay. Rumor mongers.
Yeah.
So she's more or less looking out or hunting down like the truth behind rumors.
Yeah, sure. But opening up one of the envelopes labeled Hugh Weston will have what is probably one of the more unsettling pictures that Melvin has ever seen as far as a crime report is concerned, because the man looks like he was folded in half, like his spine was broken in the lower lumbar region. Uh, and it looks like he was really bruised, kind of from the pictures you can see that, excuse me, if he's not anemic, he's definitely had a bit of blood taken from him. And it looks like he sustained much of his kind of bruising and whatnot, either during, excuse me, or very recently post his demise, as the coroner's report kind of lays out for you.
Postmortem.
Yeah. But they definitely have labeled the cause of death is the spinal injury.
Can I like kind of look at the picture, see if I see anything else, like see if anything else pops up for me in the report or on that first page?
Make a wits and investigation roll.
Okay.
See what you can come up with.
Okay. So that's kind of me. I'm gonna spend.
Oh.
I can re-roll up to 3.
3 non-hunger dice if you take a superficial point of willpower damage.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that because I got 3 successes out of, well, I guess 3 successes, but out of 7 dice.
Up to you.
Yeah, because this is right important because Hugh is Hugh Weston, so this could give us a direction. Okay, I got an extra. So I got 4 successes out of 7 dice.
Okay. Looking over the pictures, looking over the coroner's report, looking over the police report as far as like what happened and what people kind of reported and whatnot, you notice that there's a bit of trauma that has been attributed to whatever happened to him in the alley where he was found. But it's easily recognizable to you as vampiric trauma. Like it looks like his neck was bitten down on with a lot of force. And even though that you can kind of like close the wound with your kind of tongues, the leftover, the kind of residual collateral damage of a feeding like this, you can't lick away.
It's definitely somebody with potence. So he was found in an alley.
Mm-hmm. He was found in an alley about two blocks down from the last call bar.
Was there anything on his person?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He still had his wallet. Excuse me. Still had his money in his wallet. Still had his effects and whatnot. Which is the weird part because it wasn't like a robbery gone wrong. It wasn't like some kind of mugging attempt. You can tell that the detective in charge is kind of about where you were in your career, like not really seasoned, but not really a rookie. Like he's got some good questions written on the kind of like edges of his report. Everything else looks to be, typical kind of like plug and play as far as how the reports are written. Not much has changed in the 4 decades since your time in the Chicago PD.
Okay. So I'm gonna look at you guys and say, I'm gonna show you guys this stuff. I'm gonna be prepared. This is a little gruesome.
Right.
I'll show you the picture. I point out that it looks like this may have been done by somebody who may have been a little overly anxious in their feeding. There's a brutality to it. This is Hugh Weston. This is the cause of Brian Weston's rage. I guess my fellow Nosferatu were able to pull some info. He was found in an alley about 2 blocks down from last call. Immediately leads me to believe that this was probably Grant Reynolds, because that's part of his hunting ground, was that area, which is why Otis and his coterie let him. Yeah, Otis was saying that him and his coterie were letting him do what he was doing, and he just had 2 people following to make sure he didn't get completely out of line.
Wait, isn't last call the brew hall place?
Yeah, Samantha's place, the Riverfront.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Yeah, this is
wait,
more.
I'm thinking of the wrong one.
Otis is the Red Eye
is-
Lounge.
Yeah, this is
That's right, I'm sorry.
That's McGinty's area.
Sorry, I'm
That
thinking
could very well have been a brew hall.
So,
I mean, Grant Reynolds is a brew hall.
Oh, but
Yeah.
what I mean,
Yeah. One of the other file with your 4 successes, one of the other file folders will show you that there is a kind of typical report on his life, trying to find out who might have had a gun in for him and whatnot. Excuse me. One of the other folders has divorce papers that were filed maybe a month ago. And it states that he is being divorced by his wife for irreconcilable differences. His wife's name is Valerie Hughes Weston.
Oh, okay.
Wait. Wait.
Huh.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Wasn't it
Valerie W?
No, Valerie
Wasn't it?
H.
Was it Valerie H or Valerie W?
It was Valerie H.
Still, same.
Do you think
That
you think-
can't be the same Valerie.
You know, we could call the diner real quick.
Be like, yo, what's your last name?
For documents. Say it's for official documents of ours.
Will, what was Mr. Hyde? Do we know what he was? What clan he's from?
Yeah, Venture.
Venture.
He's a Venture. Okay.
Good old fashioned Southern boy.
Good old fashioned Southern racist womanizer. I said I do enjoy the company of the ladies.
But not them colored folk.
Oh,
no ma'am. So I that and I show the divorce papers and so
I think this is an important call to make.
Should I call? I'll call.
Yes.
Call.
And then maybe we should also do the call to my ghoul.
So do we want to just like straight up, guys, do we want to just, hey, by the way, are you so-and-so?
Oh, hello. We're doing some writing. We're writing some stuff down for the diner for when the official transfer happens. Can we get your full legal name? And everyone else who works there. How is that not effective?
Sure.
She hasn't given us any paperwork yet, has she?
No, we're just writing it down.
Yeah, but she was supposed to get us paperwork, so...
I asked for paperwork when we were still sitting down and then we left.
Yeah.
You know what? Why don't I call and I'll ask for an update on the paperwork. And then I'll be like, and just for the... I think I know what to do. Let me give him a call.
Okay.
Also, just after that, I would like to potentially go to the alley where this happened. See if there's something with...
I mean, it is crossing the bridge, so it's not too far, and it wouldn't be too far of a excursion outside of the heading towards Elahe.
Okay. When do we have to meet Antoine Malcolm Davies?
This evening.
Anytime after 10.
Anytime after 10. Okay. All right. So I'll pick up the phone and I'm assuming I have the number.
Smooth.
To this place.
Smooth. Yeah, of course.
Okay. Beep 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 beep.
Yep.
Wait, do you want to call?
Can't pick up the phone.
Oh my god. I wasn't giving it to you. I was giving it to Melvin. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
You're on mute.
You're on mute. We don't hear you.
Yeah, he's trying to hide his wife.
But we understand what you're doing.
My wife is
trying to hide your wife.
Yeah.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you hear the familiar voice of Valerie. Home on the Range Diner. How can I help you?
Hi, Valerie. This is Connie. Yeah, Bobby. How are you?
Oh, Bobby with an eye. How are you? Good.
Very good. Happy to hear
stellar.
it. That's great. Busy night?
Same old. You know, it's a Thursday.
You know how it goes. Listen, Valerie, I wanted to ask if you had an update on any of those documents that we need to look through to see how we do this transfer, delicately. Do you have an update on those?
Oh, of course. Mr. Hyde is going to be dropping them off on Monday himself.
Oh, excellent. Okay, that's good to know. Just to get ahead of some things, because I know you mentioned we were just having a hard time remembering the name of the chefs. Could you just give me the names of everybody at the restaurant so that we know who is responsible for what when we look at this paperwork and I don't have to call you again?
Sure. I mean, you got Billy and Tommy in charge of the cooks. You got
last names. Any last names that could be helpful for us?
Oh, I mean, that's all on the paperwork.
Okay.
I don't remember the last names, to be honest with you. I kind of
that's okay. I'll just write down Billy and who are the waitresses, first and last names, including yourself?
Of course. I mean, the youngest one is Annabelle, Annabelle Smythe. She's been with
Nice.
us just a couple years.
Okay.
Before her,
Nice.
we brought on Rebecca Lynn Towers, I believe is her last name. I think she might have married recently, so I'm not too sure if that's still her last name.
Okay, good to know.
Before her, Mr. Hyde brought in Eleanor Regina Hyde, who happens to be a granddaughter of his.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I say granddaughter, but you know the math in that is.
Yeah.
And of course, me, the Valerie Hughes.
Valerie Hughes.
Hmm.
Okay, good to know. All right, well, that's I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope
Sure.
you hope you get a lot of tips tonight.
Well,
Okay?
thank you.
You. All right, gotta go. Bye.
Have a good night.
You too.
She hangs up.
All right, so Hughes.
Is that the same
Well-
as Hugh?
Well, when you want to divorce somebody, you usually get rid of the name.
Yeah, you get rid of the second name. Right? That's what I hear.
So
So this is more complicated.
So she is not his ex-wife,
yes,
but her. So on the document, it's Valerie Hugh. Connie just said Valerie Hughes.
Hughes.
Hold on, wait, maybe I'm just dumb. Hold on.
Valerie Hughes Weston.
Oh, I have Hugh. I have Hugh written.
sometimes it's nice to just let people talk it out, and they realize things.
I don't want to play this game anymore.
No. Stay forever.
Yeah.
It's like, is Cool Whip the same as Cool Whip? Because I have it different.
It's a simple mistake.
Yeah.
To be fair, it would be really, really shitty if that's what Chewie did. He was like, there's a Valerie Hughes and there's a Valerie Hughes.
It's super on brand for him. I don't know. This is not something for me to not double check.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're getting that from.
And there's a Hughes spelled, and the two Hughes are spelled differently.
Yeah.
We just don't know because he's just saying it to us.
Oh God, yeah, it's true. He could be like that.
This feels super on brand.
No.
Like one of the Hughes is HOO.
Yeah.
Like,
With an umlaut.
yeah, with an umlaut.
Yep.
Oh,
Right.
God.
So the ex-husband, the soon-to-be ex-husband
Well,
of a vampire's familiar, or is murdered by a vampire, and his wife, who's going to be his ex-wife, that he didn't know about because he didn't get served divorce papers yet, is a familiar with Ventru, of whom we've now taken over his restaurant.
I think this
So-
worked out perfectly fine.
Now, my thing is that if she's giving him divorce papers, now, Will, did you say they were served to him already, or they weren't served?
No, they've been served.
They've been served.
They were
Okay.
served a month ago.
A month ago. Okay, so because what I'm thinking is, if you're already served the papers, then Mr. Hyde doesn't have any further interest because you're getting the divorce. But if Hugh Weston fought it, and one of these husbands like, no, baby, I don't want to do it. I want to stay with you forever. Then he may have been a thorn in Mr. Hyde's side, and he would have to pull that thorn out. And he may or may not have known his association with the First Light and with Brian.
I have
Weston.
a feeling that if it was Mr. Hyde, he would have cleaned the trackers up better. This looks like something by someone who didn't know what they were doing.
Or they did know what they were doing, but they didn't care. There's ways of making. Out of character. Well, I would know about that. Having potence, I would know about the different abilities available, right?
Yeah, you've heard things from Mickey.
Okay. Some folks with potence, they tend to, if they don't like somebody very much, they can feed and make it really, really painful for somebody else. And there's no way of cleaning the wound after because it's so violent and aggressive. Whoever did this really, really hated this person because they fed on him. But it seems like that's not what killed him based on the medical report. It was him being folded in half at the waist. I think we need to go to the alley. And then I'm going to need to make a phone call after, once we get back.
Do we know what day he died?
Will?
Yeah, it has a date on the report.
What's the day?
I will have to get that to you because it is in the Anarch side of the story.
Date
Ooh.
he died. TBA.
Mhm.
Because I'm friends with Miss McGinty, so I can go in and speak to her
Right.
about.
I'd like to. If this was a couple blocks down from the last call, I think we need to talk to Samantha and see if anybody over there is also may have seen something that night.
Yes.
So you guys head out.
But
Yeah, I guess we should.
we have to go meet with Dr. Douchebag.
Facilier.
Yeah. With Lord Reginald, Beatrice, whatever. No. Antoine
You
Davies.
Yankees have no respect for culture.
So are you
I
gonna
put on
go?
my fanciest wrinkled tie.
Are you gonna go straight to Antoine, or are you gonna stop
Well, I
along the
mean,
way?
I don't think. Do we have enough time?
Well, it's currently about to be 11.
And what time are we supposed to meet him at?
Anytime after 10.
How far is where he is to the last call?
We can go to Antoine and then go to the last call on our way homes.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
yell
what
at
I
me.
was asking.
Don't yell at me first of all.
I'm not yelling.
No, I'm just
I wasn't yelling. Sorry.
First of all, how dare you?
I wasn't yelling. It was a suggestion.
Remember, once you cross the bridge, it's about a 10-minute drive to the last call north, whereas the Elahe Country Club is southwest along the river. It's like
Let's just go to the meeting first. That's fine.
Yeah, let's get this tea time done.
Yeah.
All right, so sure enough, you make your way over to the Elahe Country Club. One of the valet kind of gives you a strange look as you pull up in your wagon. But one of the maitre d' there kind of sees Albert, bows courteously, is like, Professor Frost.
That is I.
If you could,
Hello.
and friends, if you could follow me to the lords and ladies' private room, please.
Oh, lords and ladies.
It's this way.
And, absolute pleasure.
And he leads you.
Like, I lean to Melvin and I say, "Do I have to curtsy?" Or...
I just shrug.
Okay.
He leads you up one of the stairs to a side room that looks to be about a quarter of the size of a banquet hall. It's got a couple tables, one long table where, excuse me, it looks like you could easily feed maybe a dozen football players comfortably. And at the head of the table, you see Antoine Malcolm Davies. He kind of stands up, straightens his coat at the side, and he kind of clicks his heels together and bows regally to the three of you as you enter.
I
nudge Connie. And I bow. He bowed to us, so I was just like, there's your curtsy.
I'm gonna do like a half.
Mr. Davies,
But
greatly apologize.
The maitre d' kind of announces you all as like, Sir, Professor Frost and his coterie have arrived. And he's like, yes, thank you, Bernard. Please, have a seat. Join me.
Mr. Davies, I completely apologize for our lateness. Something held us up with
No,
the
please, please. You're here. That's what matters.
absolutely.
How are all
That's
of
it,
you?
Don. Just wonderful.
Yeah. Do you eat?
Splendid.
Would you like something brought up for you?
Do you have anything in a cat?
Hmm. Unfortunately, I do not. I meant actual food.
Nothing on
I
my
don't. I
behalf.
don't do that. No, thank you.
Oh, I know some of us can stomach it, unintended. I'm so jolly.
You're
was
you're
good. I
you're
like
some you're something.
I liked that. That was funny.
He's like, please,
Very nice.
please. To what do I owe this honor? I know that we've agreed to meet Professor Frost, but you've brought all your friends. Are you still living with Melvin?
For
Yeah, he is.
for the time being, yes.
No. My offer still stands. I do have an estate that I can loan you.
It is appreciated, but I'm in the market for another small apartment similar to my old one. Not in the same area, of course.
Oh,
I feel like that would be in bad taste.
I might have an apartment then for you.
I may have the ability to rent it. I have resources like two.
Is this something that you would want to house all of your coterie, or is it just for yourself?
The occasional sleepover, yeah, as one would say,
Sure,
is
of
not
course.
to
And you
go
get caught.
unwelcome. You both lived with me for a solid 2 days.
I wouldn't call them sleepovers.
I thought we had a very fun time.
It would
Did
need to
we?
be pet friendly.
Just
Absolutely.
know,
And I just start petting.
yeah, just know, Professor Frost, that whenever you are ready to lay down roots, I would be more than happy to help you.
I greatly appreciate that.
Of course, I'm concerned about you, Mr. Professor Frost.
It's so kind to have someone from home, as you would say.
Yes, of course.
You know what, Mr. Davies? You know what he would actually really like?
All right.
You have a place somewhere in that potentially in Chapman Corner area that
Oh my. I haven't struck out too far into West Salem, so I can't say that I do have anything near there. And that does seem to have become a recently troubled neighborhood, if I've heard correctly.
We are aware. Seeing as it is also our struggling neighborhood. Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Used to be Marcucci's, I understand.
Yes, and then remember when his head was thrown onto the floor?
Sure.
Very uncivilized.
Assuming that's his head, of course.
Did no one properly inspect the head?
and I just go into a British accent. Well, shit.
I mean, you have one in your own coterie. You know how slippery Nosferatu can be. No offense, of course, Mr. Wright.
None taken.
I actually find his skin to
Asshole.
be quite
No, I'm just
dry.
kidding. I don't say that. I don't call him an asshole. He can hear me.
Yeah.
It's Mr. Davies, I have a question. It's more of a business thing. So I apologize for bringing up into what was supposed to be more of a civilized tea time.
No, I mean, what is civilization without business?
Of course. What do you know of Yvette Morrison that we would garner no one else would necessarily know if you did know anything?
Oh, Miss Professor Frost.
Yes.
Are you trying to broker information out of me?
I'm I'm a researcher. I'm trying to broker information out of everybody.
No, but you know, information is a two-way street, Professor Frost.
I can give you what you want, but I will primarily be all about Atlantis.
And that's not what I want.
What are you interested in?
Oh, so many things. Um, see, there's been a lot of talk that Chapman Corner is more important than people seem to give it credit for. What
Is
have you
it?
seen?
I'll be honest. Is the diner in Chapman Corner?
Yeah, of course.
I would say street lights and a diner.
Hmm.
To be quite frank. Franklin, if I was to go further.
Well, please go further.
The diner, and then that would be all at the moment.
Hmm. I see. It's unfortunate then. Excuse me. Very well. I guess we'll bring in some tea so we can at least smell what home reminds us of. And
Mr. Davis, are you what specifically about Chapman Corner, or is it that you're inquiring about?
I mean, from you, Mr. Wright, I'd like to know why a once Sabbat Templar could have let you go for no reason. Since he's been assumingly eating up all of the fair folk here in the city.
Are you implying something?
I'm just relaying what I have heard.
Mm. I I put my feet up on the table, like I cross them, and I just go, "It
Oh,
must be my charming personality."
Mm, yes, of course.
yes.
But Mr. Davis, with all due respect, I obviously my friend here, he's looking for some information because as you were at the Elysium, we were given some duties to do on this. Now, I will tell you that it was my meeting with Mr. Reynolds was not my intention.
Mm,
But fortunately enough for me, I think it's a simple matter of he had already gotten his full on my kind
mm,
based on what I've heard.
I understand.
He did tell me that he thought he was fond of me from our brief conversation. I tend to, and I put my feet down again, and I turn. I go. I tend to not try to judge a book by its cover.
Right, of course, given your enchant for whatever is happening in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. I was worried, you see. I thought you were in league with him given your sudden gesture at the Elysium when he invited others to join him
Or to fight him.
or to fight him. Yes. But you don't look stupid, Mr. Wright, if I can say so.
I think that's one of the first times I've heard that.
Let's make sure it's not the last. You want information on Yvette Morrison.
Ideally.
She is a clanmate, of course, so I have spent time with her. Yvette, myself, and Miss Birmingham were in contention for the seat of Primogen with the previous prince of the city. I would have gladly given it up to either of them. But I knew how much Geraldine wanted it. Yvette was being groomed for the seat. But she didn't have the bite for it. If I could be so devilish again.
I look at Connie like, because she was a vampire. And then I go, continue.
um, once the beckoning happened on New Year's Eve, turning into 1980, things changed, and I want to say that we all should have seen it coming, but no one was prepared for it. Geraldine made a move on the throne. She was backed by almost everyone unanimously, because she wasn't a terrible person. And to this day, she's not a terrible person if you know how to handle Geraldine. Yvette, however, never sat well with what happened. Mostly because her sire was part of the ones that disappeared. So it struck a nerve, I think, for her to see Geraldine kind of flagrantly throw about her desires. But I also feel like maybe Yvette just was too concerned with her childer at the time. That is another unfortunate situation of this whole mollycocking that's happening in the city. Did you ever meet her? Her childer.
What was her name? Their name?
Nicole Claremont.
I don't believe I can say I have.
I don't recall.
Unfortunate. She was a bright one. She could have been magnificent, stellar addition to the tower had she not fallen so close to Yvette's tree. I think that's why they went after her. I have no proof, but I can tell you for sure that whatever set Yvette on this warpath has to do with her childer.
Is Miss Claremont still with us, or
No. You don't go to war if your child has just stepped out to a different city. Like what I heard has happened with Miss Alwyn.
Yes, I believe she moved off to Hollywood. Last I heard.
Such have I heard as well. So you can see the difference. The fact that Miss Alwyn is still alive somewhere, and Miss Richards has stayed her hand. Whereas Miss Claremont has met her fate and has incensed Miss Morrison to greater deeds that do not befit her station. She is like Icarus. Sooner or later, she will tumble.
By chance, how did you hear of Miss Arwen?
I have connections. I have friends.
I don't precisely remember where I heard of it, but it's in my notebook.
Hmm.
I wish I could tell you who I heard it from. I do.
I mean, she was part of your coterie. I would assume it would have come from you, if anyone else.
No, last we heard from her, she was walking into last call with plethora of information and weapons, and then never heard from her again.
Hmm. Now that is delicious.
Were you not aware?
No, not of that. Not of those facts.
Could I interest you in a more delicious piece of information then for another one from you?
Please. You have my attention.
Let us say the fortune teller Primogen is not happy that that information has gone missing. If you understand what I mean.
Are you speaking of Mr. Hunter?
Possibly. I believe he gave the information to us personally. And now it is gone, and a project that he wanted to see done is in
Well,
someone else's hands.
if we're speaking of the same person,
I believe we are.
I can tell you that he is more incensed about something else that has happened to him recently than whatever pet project you were on for him.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And someone has gone and stolen one of his journals.
Oh.
One of the few journals that has all of his names.
Oh. Oh. You wouldn't by chance know who this someone is, would you?
That I don't know. I only know that our dear friend
Mm-hmm.
shifts as he grows hungrier. That's his psychoses, you see.
Oh, I know.
Oh, we've met.
We've met too.
Oh, but you haven't met all of him.
I've met two of them.
We've not had the pleasure for the whole harem
Hmm.
that lives in his head.
It's a good use of the word.
Thank you. Ah. I'll add that to the keep an eye out list.
Excellent.
Maybe he may enjoy finding it.
So you said you wanted to talk about business, Professor Frost. Is this concluded?
The rumors may consume business. More or less wanting to catch up with a new friend, possibly make this a regular thing. It'd be nice.
You see the door open and the maitre d' kind of comes in. Sir, your other guest has arrived. And he's like, please put him in the Admiral's room. I'll be there shortly. Thank you, Bernard. And the maitre d' kind of nods, closes the door behind him.
I wasn't aware you would have more guests this evening. I feel terrible taking up more of your time.
No, please. I've set myself here accordingly. I didn't know when you would arrive, so I wanted to deal with other things along the night as well.
Of course.
But yes, if
You're a busy person.
I try to be.
I want to get a beat on him.
What are you trying to get?
I have a feeling that this other person's Mr. Reynolds, but I don't know what to do. What would I do to even get that idea off of Davies?
Your guess is as good as mine.
God. I don't know. I'm dumb. All right.
Okay.
Speaking
So,
out loud then.
Yeah, he stands up. Well, if we are finished here, I'll go entertain my other guest.
By chance, anyone we know?
I mean, they might be. I don't know
I
what
do-
circles you are running in.
Currently yours. Uh, and then
It's hard. It's hard to determine circles without names.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And if not, it's always nice to make a new acquaintance.
sure. We'll see
Would you
how it
mind at
feels.
least? Oh, all right.
And he steps over to the door. He opens it, allows you all to kind of exit. Then he leads you down the stairs, across a great hall to another set of stairs that he kind of climbs up. He goes into another similar kind of room. He opens the door and you see him kind of peek inside. He's like, Andy, would this happen to be something private, or would you like some assistance? And you just hear a voice. No, please, Mr. Davies. This is just between us. I would hate to involve anyone else. And Malcolm just kind of turns to all of you. He's like, very well. Unfortunately, my associate needs just my full attention, so I apologize. Until we can do this again, Professor Frost.
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully I'll be able to invite you to my own residence.
Sure. And you see him step into the room and close the door.
It was a pleasure. Also, after he closes the door.
Yeah.
Connie, you saw that? Royalty.
I said not a word.
Not a word.
Not a word.
Not a word. I think my courtesy turned him off. So
Maybe. Maybe.
But-
But I think there was a revelation made as to who this might be.
There's only one Andy I know.
There's only one
Andy
possible
Griffith?
person named Andy.
So
I appreciate you give it. I appreciate that this information was given.
right? So I think we'll leave off here with you going towards the last call and investigating the situation. I'd like to thank everyone who joined us this evening. Please, as always, keep washing your hands, keeping your distance, keep wearing your masks. And if you haven't gotten vaccinated, please get yourselves vaccinated. And as always, I'm going to be putting some phone numbers in the chat if you're watching live on Twitch, in case you need some help, because we are advocates of mental health here, and mental health should not be stigmatized or tabooed, or hidden behind kind of hushed tones or whatnot. And if you're a friend or family member of somebody that has a strong personality, please reach out to them, because you never know what could change someone's trajectory. And please, if you feel like you need help, please go out and find it. There's nothing wrong with getting help. And as always, I will see you on Wednesday for our Legend of the Five Rings campaign, or on Friday for our Star Wars Out in the Dark. And until then, please be safe, and I will see you guys when I see you guys.